All right. Training is recording. Samantha's here. You can put your camera on so it doesn't look like I'm talking to myself. Okay, let me share my screen and we're good.
There we go.
Okay, let me know when you see my screen. I still don't see you. And hopefully you'll be coming. There we go. Samantha is there. All right, guys. So our training is going to be on going over the lease and resale agreement listing. It's pretty much going to give you guys a big overview of what the agreement actually stands for before getting into the details of uploading the listing. I think it's very important for our agents to know and have a full understanding of how to present the agreement to the client, because I feel as if we kind of forget the main key points and we just go into the major details of just address, commission, and then we go into our schedules, A, B, or C, whichever ones you guys have into your transaction. So I think the key point as agents is to fully understand these clauses, these preset clauses that are a part of your agreement. And some of you guys probably remember this from school, from back in the day. Some of you guys may just need a little bit of a refresher, or some of you guys may not even understand it, and that's why we're here. Okay, so let's get into it, and let's start from going into our presentation. So our documents that is needed for our listings is going to be either you're looking at your freehold lease listing, your condo lease listing, your freehold sale listing, or your condo sale listing, depending on which transactions you guys are doing with your client. We want to make sure that you guys are prepared for it. So getting into the details for freehold lease listing, these are the documents that will be needed in order for your transactions to go through. Okay, so Form 272, okay, which is your listing agreement, landlord designated representation agreement, authority to offer for lease. The next form is required is your 296, which is your MLS data information form, which is specifically for freehold to lease, okay? Your RTA, which stands for your residential tenancy agreement, your Schedule A, your Schedule B, your RICO information guide, and your transaction report. Now, keep in mind, RICO information guide is a form that you will have to fill out for any and all types of transactions that you do with your clients. It's just to make sure that you're starting the relationship with your client, make sure that your client understands what it means to be a client and what it means for them for you to represent them as your client, and to have a full understanding that they understand what it entails of. Okay, it's very important. Transaction report is something that is going to be sent to more for the back end team. Now, so I have Samantha here. Samantha, can you tell me, when do we hand in a transaction report?
We hand in a transaction report when it's when we're finishing at the very end of the entire transaction.
Okay.
It's not generated.
No, that's okay.
When I'm handing in my deal confirmation and everything.
Okay, so technically transaction reports should be handed in prior.
Okay.
Before. It should always be at the beginning when you're getting all of these documents that's being signed for. It should be actually handed in at that time. Usually I understand why you guys hand in your transaction report, because you feel as if everything should be done at that point, and then you just submit it to your back-end team. Your back-end team actually technically needs it in the beginning, because they need to know exactly what are you listing, what property you're doing, who to follow when it comes to deposit, who are you working with, who is the client. They need to have all that information prior to it actually being on closing date. Okay, why? Because they want to make sure all the forms are being filled, if it's filled correctly, if there's anything that's missing, if there is anything that they have to follow through on their back-end team, they have all the requirements that they need for the process to happen and for them to function at the back scenes. Okay, transaction reports should not be done at the end of your closing, because at that time, if something goes wrong, it's it's too late for them to be chasing or running around after, because it's time sensitive, even more so than that. Okay, so keep in mind, transaction reports should be done in the beginning. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is your condo lease listing. Now, if you guys notice, that 272 form is with your freehold lease listing. See this right here? Freehold, as well as your condo. You're using the same form. Okay, so if it's more for leasing it, okay? 292 is your MLS data information form, is to lease. Just make sure you're knowing that this is for condo, not for freehold. Okay, make sure that you guys use the correct data information form is very important. Okay, as you see here, you see the RTA is the same, Schedule A is the same, Schedule B is the same, RICO information guide is going to be towards everything. Same thing with your transaction report. Okay, so the only thing that's very, very different is your data information form. All right, let's go into your sale listing. So sale listing for your freehold is going to be Form 200. Okay, listing agreement, seller representation agreement, authority to offer for sale. Your data information is going to be Form 290. Okay, as you can see here, it says freehold. 105, which is your Schedule B. Okay, let me just bring this over here. Your Form 320, which is confirmation of cooperation. What does that mean? What do you think that means?
That's for the listing agent, cooperating agent, so to make sure that we get paid.
Yes, it's to make sure, it's not only to make sure that we get paid, but it's also to make sure to be clear who's paying who and what amount is being paid, right? Because keep in mind, there are some people who would be listing themselves and they're not charging themselves, but they have to pay the cooperating agent, right? But this is specifically specifying exactly with the understanding that your clients in both sides have an idea of who's paying who and how much is being paid, and there is full transparency of what's happening in that sense, okay? Again, your RICO information guide is another form. Your 630 form, which is your FINTRAC, which means the individual identification information record. Why is this so important? Why do you think this is important?
Because we want to make sure that when we're doing any large cash or any large transactions like this, we want to make sure that this is make sure that there's no money laundering happening.
That's right. Okay.
Anti-terrorism, etc. Yeah, we want to make sure that we are representing someone that is, I guess, of sound.
Yeah, well, you're right. So everything that you said is right. That's correct. It's pretty much to verify who you are listing is the person that they say who they are, right? You want to verify who is this person. You're representing this person. You want to make sure you're doing your due diligence to protect yourself as well, and to making sure that this client is in good position. And this is the person that's actually selling the home. Is this actually who you are? Okay. Next form will be your transaction report. Again, like I said, guys, it's the same report that does happen all the time, okay? Let's go to the next screen. Condo sale listing, same thing. Form 200 is going to follow you at the same time. Same thing as your freehold. This is going to be your condo as well, okay? The only thing that's going to be different is your data information, which is Form 291. The first one was 290. This one is 291, which specify this is condo. Sorry, my arrows are pretty wonky. Schedule B, which is Form 105. Okay, same thing, 320, which is your confirmation of cooperation, your RICO information guide, your FINTRAC is something that needs to happen as well. Okay, and then your transaction report. So these are the necessary forms that is necessary for these transactions. Admin had done a really good job by making sure templates are ready for you guys in SkySoap as well with all of these docs that's ready for you. You should have an idea of what docs are required and is expected, just in case if something's not loading, something happens with the templates, you have an idea what's needed. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, so let's go into the deeper things of the contract. So the contract that I'm using is going to be Form 272, which is your listing offer for lease, not for sale, but for lease. So there's a couple of things I wanted to find out here is making sure that you guys understand this part. So when we are talking to a client, and a client is asking, well, you know, I'm interested in listing my place for lease or for sale, okay? And let's get it ready for next month. Let's get it ready for December 1st, so let's say, okay? Now you're like, okay, well, we're talking. I am going to start filling up the agreement because I want to have this relationship going on. Where would I be having my client initial? Would it be on MLS or will it be an exclusive?
On MLS.
Okay. Okay.
I know that I've asked this question before and I forget.
It's okay. So there's two things, okay? There's two things. Now, the reason why there's two things, I know we all will go to MLS, okay?
Okay.
But if this is going to be listed in December 1st, and we're only in November right now, okay, there's two things that you can do. One, initially, you would need to do exclusive,
Okay.
because up until now, until then, there's nothing going on MLS.
Right. Okay.
So as of right now, it's an exclusive relationship that you're having. It's coming soon. So there's a couple of good things about doing it as an exclusive. Why? Because you still have like a good month, right? One, you have a signed contract with a client.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, finally.
Mm-hmm.
And second, you can do some upcoming advertisement on behalf of your client to kind of show your client you're going to be like through that extra mile to service them, to kind of give them like, extra exposure. It's not up here ready, but it's going to be coming soon. I want to get this property advertised. That's going to be coming soon. So we kind of get that attraction happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now in time when it's going to be listed, because remember the date of commencing.
Right.
If the date of commencing, this here, the date of commencement means it's on the day that it goes live.
On MLS.
On MLS.
Right.
So if you're going to be putting December 1st, you have 24 hours to do that
Mm-hmm.
after getting it signed,
Okay.
right? So if you're going to get this whole contract signed with this date, that means it has to go live on that time. But it's not going on MLS at that time. Okay, so as of right now, for this time period, it's going to be an exclusive listing. Okay, until it comes to the time that you're supposed to have this listed, then you will be doing an amendment and having it changed to MLS. Okay, if you decide to do an MLS, that's fine. But again, that means there is no agreement happening from now until then.
Mm-hmm.
There's no signed contract until then. So you really technically don't have that relationship with your clients now. So you're giving yourself a 50-50 chance that they could be talking to somebody else and saying, hey, I'm actually decided to go with someone else. Can we just sign a mutual release?
Right. Okay.
Okay, so don't give that opportunity to miss out on that. Okay, so if you're guys going to do it, please try to do it right and make sense of it. But understand that this is the kind of areas that you guys want to make sure that you're doing. Okay, now let's go into the brokerage. The brokerage will be the brokerage name over here. Don't forget to make sure that you put the phone number of the brokerage. It's very important. Sometimes agents do leave this out. This is crucial. This is important because they need a point of contact to the brokerage in case if there's any questions or concerns. Okay, landlord. When we have the landlord, what is something that we want to verify?
You want to get their IDs.
Perfect.
And
make sure the ID is not expired.
Right.
Very important. I don't think a lot of times we might miss that little tweak area, but we want to make sure the ID that they present to us is one, the ID that we could use, like a driver's license or a passport. Health card is not a valid ID. Okay, so please make sure that you guys check on that too. But why do we ask for ID? Like, what is the purpose?
Well, I want an ID and then I want to go into your warehouse and make sure that you own this property.
Perfect. So we want to make sure that we're verifying exactly, is this client who they say they own this, do they actually own this property? Is there anybody else on title? And if there is anybody else on title, well, guess what? You need them to be present at the same time because it's under them as well. Okay. Yep, we'll get on to that later on. No, don't be sorry. So please make sure you guys are looking at all of that and make sure the name is properly spelled out, because sometimes it could be just first and last name and not have middle name, or some of them, whatever is actually on the GR warehouse, whatever is actually on the title, that's the same name that's going to be on the agreement. Okay, very important. Designated representative. So that could be, it's going to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go down. Oh, I'm going too fast. Commencements we already talked about. Commencements are usually a duration of 3 months. Okay, if this exceeds 3 months, then you will go up to 6 months, and then you will have to have your clients initial it over here. We hope it doesn't go to that extent, but sometimes if it need to, just remember after 3 months, you need to have an initial if you're going to be extending this relationship. Okay. Okay. Now, what we are doing here is making sure that we're looking at the dollar amount. Okay. And I don't know why this is so big. Let's go to the next one. Any questions so far?
No, we're good.
Okay. Sorry, guys. There you go. Okay, that's why. Okay, so Schedule A is where you're going to be proceeding if there is a Schedule B, which we normally would have, and if there's a Schedule C or a D, if there's any other attachments or documents or floor plans that you guys want to add in, that's going to be another schedule. So please make sure if anything of that is happening, it's going to be transparency is going to be on this side. This could also be a disclosure, anything of that sort. If you have your own property you're selling, that's a disclosure that you want to have in there too. So please make sure you are presenting all the schedules and disclosing them all onto here and having your clients initial it on this side.
So would I put Schedule A, B, C, and then let's say then there's also a disclosure? Would I even write that there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or it could be like a
Actually, never done
schedule.
that
It
before.
could be like another schedule that's added onto it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the first part. The first part is your definition. So your definition is pretty much is who is referring to who. So who is your buyers and who is your sellers? Who is your, your lessor to your leaser, to the person who's leasing it. Sorry, I'm saying this all wrong. So that's just pretty much identifying who's who in the transaction. Okay. Commission. Commission is something that's important. I'm sure we all know that. We all want to know who's paying what and how much we're getting paid. So it's a big factor. So keep in mind the first line is your commission as a whole. Okay, so this is a leasing agreement. Make sure that you're putting 1 month's rent plus HST. Okay, if this is for sale, depending on your rate, a standard rate is about 2.5% plus HST. Please put 5% plus HST here. Okay. On the second line, it's what you are paying the cooperating brokerage, which means half month's rent here or 2.5% plus HST here. Okay. The first part is going to be as a whole of the commission, what your client is going to be paying. And then the second part is going to be what from that whole amount, what is going to be paid from that towards the cooperating brokerage. Okay, please don't make a mistake because if you put 2.5 months rent up here plus HST, you're not getting paid.
No.
Your cooperating brokerage is going to get paid, but you ain't. Okay, and that's going to be your fault, your issue, your problem. Okay, holdover period. Holdover period is usually, I would say 90-day duration. You can do 30, 60, or 90. It's up to you and what you think is best. But what do you think holdover period means, Samantha?
Holdover period. So that's like how long you're in a agreement with each other, right? So it could be 60 or 90 days.
No.
Is that no?
No. So holdover period is, I'm going to give you a scenario. So pretty much what it means is that, let's just say your client says, you know what, Samantha, I want to sell this unit myself. Thank you. I think I'm going to do this myself. This is good. I think I can sell it on my own. I don't need your services. Let's get a mutual release out. That's fine. Whatever. You guys go your separate ways. And let's say you have a buyer that is coming in to the seller and saying, I want to put in an offer to your house. But they had seen this place and this home at the time that you were doing the services for your client. Okay,
Yeah.
that means it's going to be up to 30, 60, 90 days of duration that you are able to get compensated. If someone comes in to make an offer while they came in seeing the property while you were servicing the property. Very, very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why a lot of the agents will put 90-day duration, not 30. Okay, and it also depends on the relationship that you have with your client. But if in case that happens, you guys need to understand that that's there, and you have to be able to know how to answer this to your clients, and also how to kind of present that to your client, so then there is no confusion or there's no, you don't want to burn any bridges, but it's quite clear on what your contract is stating. Okay, any questions so far? No, good. Okay. Representation means they can either be your client, customer, multiple rep. You come into your multiple rep on this section over here. Your multiple rep is pretty much knowing and understanding what it means to be in a multiple representation situation. I truly don't like to be in a multiple representation. Some people may disagree. That's okay. It's if you think you can handle it quite well, then by all means do so, but it could get very sticky. This is going to come into a situation that there could be a conflict of interest because both parties is someone that you are going to be helping and guiding, but you're not able to, you can help them with facts and information, but what you cannot do is help them with their wants and their needs. Okay. And you as an agent need to understand where your boundary is and what you're able to go ahead and help them with and how to help them with. And you have to make sure that you stay clear. And the reason why multiple representation can be very tricky is that everything can go well at the beginning, but if something goes south and it goes to court, that's an issue on its own, right? Because it's like, well, you recommended this, you advised me this. Well, you're not supposed to. You can only give them the information, the facts. But how you phrase things and how you approach things and how you deliver those messages, it has to be very carefully sorted out.
Right? You don't have their best interest.
You don't have their best interest.
It's just the facts.
You're just being the person who is doing the transaction. I'm going to get it prepared. You want to make an offer? Great. How much you want to offer? Okay, I'm going to present it to you. That's what they offer. But it's not something like, well, I think we can push more, or let me go and ask and see if they can kind of drop more. You can't do that. You can only say, well, these are the comparables, and what do you want to offer? Because this is the comparables of what's happening in that area or in the building, and you come in with the best price, and then you think this is the price you want to accept. That's great, but you also have to be very careful on how you word those things. Because what if your client in the end says, "No, I want you to represent me.
Yeah,
I want you to have the best interest in me. So please guide me." So let's not make it a tricky or a sticky situation.
And Michelle, still falls under multiple representation is when you are working with someone in the same brokerage as you, correct? Or it has changed?
It has changed.
Tressa, right?
It has changed.
Okay.
Multiple representation, it doesn't matter if another agent's working in the same brokerage anymore. It used to be. But keep in mind, your listing agreement now says you are the designated. It's not the brokerage.
Yes.
So you are holding for yourself. It only becomes a multiple representation if you yourself have the client that comes in from the buyer and a client that's selling the place, which is the seller. Okay, so they have changed it. Please read up on the multiple representation. Don't quote me on everything because things do change quite frequently. So just make sure that you guys read through it beforehand. Okay. All right. Finder's fees. What does finder's fees mean? What do you think it means?
I'm like, you need to go over this.
So finder's fee is pretty much getting consent from your client for any referral fees. So let's just say, for example, if you're referring them to a if you are you want to make sure that your client understands that if you are recommending someone to them, you're going to be getting a fee, and are they allowing you to get that fee? So like for a mortgage, exactly, for a mortgage specialist, you're like, okay, well, you can use one of our recommendations. And sometimes mortgage specialists like, okay, well, I'll pay you $500 for any client that you're bringing to me. You need to make sure that your client is giving you consent to do that.
Right.
And there's full transparency of that as well. Okay, any questions?
Good.
Okay, referrals. What does that mean? What do you think that means?
Referrals of inquiries.
Okay, that's okay. Well, that's what we're doing. This.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So number 5 is pretty much making sure that your client is in full transparency with you. So meaning that if there is any offers coming to them, they should be bringing it up to you and letting you know and having full transparency that, hey, I have an offer coming in. Please connect to my client. Please connect to my agent. I'll inform my agent that you can speak with them directly because you're the one who's representing. You know exactly how to guide them. You are the one that's helping your client. So your client shouldn't have to feel the need of doing it secretly. Right? There should be full transparency on your side as well as your client's side. So please make sure that your client is fully aware that, hey, if you do get any offers coming to you, please let me know. And then I want to be representing you the best way that needs to be represented, right? Because I am on your side, right? Because keep in mind, that's how some clients feel the need that I want to do this myself.
Right.
Well, okay, but there should be some kind of transparency of what's happening out there from your side as well as your client side. So even if you get an offer coming in and you feel as if this offer is no good, it's pretty crap, it's shit, there's no way my client is going to go with it. It's still your responsibility to make sure that you're giving full transparency to your client, saying, hey, we did get an offer submitted in. This is the breakdown, blah, 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 blah. I just want to give you the heads up. I know this might not be something that you want to work with, but I still want to make sure that you are quite aware that we did get an offer. Okay. And that's something that's our due diligence, guys. So please make sure, even if it's not the greatest offer, you are still to disclose that to your client. Okay.
Still present.
You have to still present and give a breakdown, and it's still up to them to say, nope, I don't want to go with it. Thanks for letting me know. Make sure you have that on black and white, because the last thing you want is, well, I was not aware that we even got an offer. How could you make that decision for me? Okay. All right. Marketing. Number 6, marketing is pretty much letting yourself know that your client is giving you full authority to have the property for lease or for sale, and you're able to advertise it in any platforms of your social medias and whatnot. They understand that it's going to be on there. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Warranty. Warranty is pretty much your landlord is making sure they warrant that they are telling you everything and anything that is about their property. If there's anything that needs to be disclosed or that can help, that might or could prevent the sale from happening with the property, they need to be able to disclose that. And they need to make sure that they're giving you all that information to you so that way you know how to handle it if there is an issue or concern happening within their property. Okay. Number 8. What is number 8? What do you think?
I'm not sure we've read over this before.
That's okay. That's okay. So number 8, it's pretty much making sure that it protects us. Okay. It protects us because we are not responsible. We're advising our clients to make sure there's no, like, for example, if we're doing an open house or we're doing showings for our client's property, that if things go missing or get stolen or anything gets damaged, we're not responsible for it. We are letting them know that, hey, this is expected, like this is what happens or can happen. There are risks and all that stuff. Please do not leave your jewelry or your cash or anything out there because you never know who's coming in. But God forbid if anything happens, you're not held responsible for any damages or any loss that's taking place to the property. Okay. Okay. Now, number 9, Family Law Act, spousal consent. Spousal consent. Now, keep in mind, this is from the first recording that didn't get through because there was issues. But I want to make sure that this is a lease agreement. For sale agreement, now for lease, you do not need a spousal consent, but for sale, you do need a spousal consent. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, a spousal consent is for a spouse that is not on title, okay, but is living in the same home, which is their primary home. That is where they will need a spousal consent. Common law it does not fall in the same category. If it's a common law, it is not categorized for getting a spousal consent. But I want to make sure that you guys do due diligence by checking into this, because the last time I checked this some time ago, common law is not part of it. I don't know if they changed it, but I do know that if it's a spouse and this is their primary home, they will need a spousal consent. Okay. I will show you at the bottom where you will get that signature form when we get there. Okay. Okay. Verification of information. Verification of information. What does that mean?
This is for IDs, the driver's license, passport, or ID
So
cards.
verification of verification of information is pretty much stating that the seller is authorizing the brokerage or the listing agent to make sure that they can contact the city to get information for the property.
Okay, like the deed.
the deed and whatever, just to get more information on the property. So then that way they can verify all of it.
Because
Okay.
the warehouse is just like that's like the tip.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Okay. So like if we have to kind of call the city for certain questions or anything of that sort, the seller is giving us the authority to do that,
Mhm.
to proceed with the transaction. Okay. So that's something that's definitely important. Okay. What else?
And the verification of information,
Nope.
or are we
Number
moving
11.
on now?
Yeah.
Number 11. The verification of information, that we have to get consent from the seller to actually have their information out there. Like, can we post it there that we're, selling this condo or whatever, or this house, and put their information, like first and last name, phone numbers,
Well,
like the actual
we
address.
don't really put the seller's phone number.
I mean, my
It's-
phone number, sorry. That's more of what I was thinking.
It's
about,
just
but-
information of the property.
Yeah.
It's just making sure that we are getting consent to give out any information relating to the property to people who have interest in the property. Okay. But things are still kept confidential when it comes to their privacy and whatnot. The only information I would say that gets on the listing is their name. Because keep in mind the cooperating brokers will have to do their due diligence to make sure they're verifying
Mhm.
the title on name is the same as your warehouse and whatnot, because they're not going to be making an offer on something that they're blindsided. So the only information that they would probably need to be put on is their name.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need a consent for, Facebook, Instagram posts, whatever? Yeah,
Well, that's under
what
marketing.
falls under there, right?
That's
Yeah.
all the preset for marketing. Yeah. Okay. Now at the bottom over here, what does this mean? I know we always mark off does not, but do we even know what this means? That's not fair when you have to read it, Samantha.
Sorry.
Just joking. Just joking.
Why we say does not normally, because
Normally,
like
Okay.
I just mean like why people want to go to does not. I would assume that that's because we want to keep this client and represent them, and we have that 90-day holdover on them.
okay.
Does that have something kind of to do with
So, yes and no. So this section over here, it pretty much means that if their listing comes up to an expiry and other agents are coming in, they see that, okay, it hasn't been leased, it hasn't been sold. I'm gonna, do I have access to get the client's information? So I can contact them and say, hey, since it didn't list or since it did not sell or lease, why don't I list your place?
Yeah.
Okay. So most times, if you have a good relationship with your client, they're going to say does not, because they do not want to have other agents contacting them for that reason, because they want to work with you and you want to work with them, right? But in worst case scenario, if there's a bad relationship or whatnot, clients may say, well, I'll try you out, but if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to try somebody else. So you need to make sure that you understand what this category means, what this little section means, because they have the ability to say, no, I actually want to put does. Because if I don't know you, but I want to give you a chance, but if this does not work out, I may want to try somebody else.
Right.
Okay. But you also want to make sure that you're giving that transparency to them and disclosing to them and making them decide what they want to do. Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Hey. Okay. Number 12. What does that mean?
There's sectors administration often refined the terms of this agreement, that this is a binding contract.
I love the fact that she just reads it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. This is a binding contract.
So this
Everyone that's
means
listed
that
on it.
if, God forbid, something happens to the seller, whoever is their trustee, power of attorney, whatever may be the case in this scenario, that whoever is going to be taking over, they also need to understand that this is a binding agreement. And anything that has happened or had transpired prior, that they would still have to continue with the binding agreement. Okay, so that therefore there is no changes that's being made to the terms. It is but it's already done, it's firm, we're just proceeding, you're just taking over to carry on with the transaction because the seller might be passed away, not able to do anything at that point for any reason, but you are continuing the contract from where it's left off. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 13. Okay, I'm not gonna even ask, I'm just gonna get right to it. So number 13 pretty much says that all these clauses that are on the agreement are just signing off. These are preset clauses, okay? But keep in mind when you have your Schedule A, and if your Schedule A conflict with any of these preset clauses, your Schedule A will always precedent over preset clauses. So it's very important because there might be some clauses in Schedule that contradict this one, or it might not be connecting. Your Schedule A clauses will always precedent over the preset ones here. Okay. Number 14 and 15. Number 14 is just sending any communication by electronic. This is not like back in the day. I was going to say some, just for old timers, things are definitely advanced quite a bit. So if there's any communications, usually by email and whatnot. Same thing with signatures. We normally do DocuSign or SkySlope or whatever may be the case instead of hard copies, but you never know. Some clients may want hard copies. That's fine. Okay. All right. So when we come over here, this is where the spousal consent will be taking place. I'm sure you guys have all seen this. Now keep in mind, the spousal consent will be more for your selling agreement, not for your leasing agreement. Okay, so this will be the section here for, okay. And then you have your declaration of insurance, which is pretty much your annual insurance that you pay that helps protect you. And these are for any errors that is on the contract that the sellers may face, that will help cover yourself and your butt. So having your insurance is key point and making sure that you guys get that. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, perfect. So that's the end for our training. So the reason why I wanted to do this training is just to make sure you guys have a better understanding. I know a lot of us, we normally just kind of like sign here, sign here, sign here, and then fast we go down to Schedule A. But it's very important to go over and understand what your agreement is all about, because I will tell you sometimes you may get that client that may look at every single little detail and say, well, what does this mean? And you as an agent cannot be sitting there reading it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, okay, well, this is what it means and this is how it breaks down, but I just want to clarify this for you, right? Because you're going to have the client be questioning you with every single thing that's on the agreement. And you should be able to help break it down for them, summarize it for them, explain it to them, have any rebuttals, then you're ready and you're prepared to, because there's nothing on here that is against your client. It's working with your client, right? And having that good relationship with them. So I think it's important that when you guys are presenting these contracts with your client, have a casual conversation. That's what I normally do with my clients. Right? I don't go through like a number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I don't go through it like that. I normally kind of just summarize it, the whole thing on here and say, hey, you know what? I just want to make sure that I am here to work with you. I want to make sure that I put you first in these transactions. I want to build our relationship with you because you are my client. And just in case there is a multiple representation issue that comes up, I will disclose that to you. And what that means is blah, blah, blah. Okay. Secondly, what it also means is that I want to make sure that we have full transparency, not only from myself, but from you too. So if there's anyone asking you questions about your property, just bring it over to me. Let me handle it. I want to be stress-free for you. Let me take care of you in that sense and answer those questions to them. And let me do the grunt for you. Okay. So you see what I'm doing? I'm doing whatever is on the contract, but I'm making it feel more comfortable, making it more of a casual conversation than me going 1, 2, 3 step, 4 step.
Yeah.
Okay, just break it down very simple, because then therefore they will understand it better. When you talk like that, they will be a little bit more, calm about it. They will be a little bit more, the walls will be broken down for them, and you will be having that great relationship and connection with your client. So please make sure that you guys go through this quite well. Make sure you understand your agreements quite well and bring it up to your clients, and then go into your depth into your Schedule A of what those clauses are, because those are important. But don't forget about these clauses as well, because these are definitely important, especially like knowing what your holdover is. It's huge, because that We never hope it to happen, but that can happen, right? You need to know your rights as well, and your client needs to know where they stand when they're signing this contract.
Right.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, going back to what we had mentioned before, if you are making any changes to your agreements, make sure that you guys now, because Trev is very, very strict, Rico, just make sure that under our rules, we are doing amendment for any changes that are being made before we suggest correct any mistakes and then having everyone sign it or initial it. Now they want a full amendment. So if you're going to be doing exclusive, make sure that you do an amendment at the time to bring it back to MLS if that's happening. Okay. So especially on the address, if you're saying avenue instead of street, do not scratch it off and correct it and initial it. Make sure that you do an amendment because that's what's going to be a requirement. Okay.
And sorry, Michelle, how long, when should I be doing the amendment from exclusive to MLS? Because that eventually will happen, right?
Closer to the day that
Actually,
you're,
December
yeah,
1st.
correct, exactly. So I would say closer to the day because keep in mind you have 24 hours for you to be having to put your listing up on MLS after the day that is signed.
Okay.
Right. So please make sure that all of that gets done. So then that way all your paperwork is on time and everything is good to go and that you have all your forms in good condition. If there is any confusion, so if there is any questions that you guys may have, just ask admin, Matthew, or me. We can kind of guide you guys through it as well. But just make sure that you guys are getting it signed appropriately, and we're here to guide you guys for it. Okay. Anything else?
I think great.
We're good.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm gonna stop sharing.